Dad doesn't know I'm saying this either. I probably should give up on the idea of finding a husband. And so I went home, and like every sane woman would do, I was like, I'm joining a free online dating site because I want someone to tell me I'm pretty. And there were a lot of really big weirdos. And then Jeff messaged me with his Cookie Monster sweatshirt and his ripped jeans. And I was like, dang, who's that hottie? So
I still have a lot of Cookie Monsters.
he does. He loves cookies. You have no idea. So we talked probably for a good 2 months before we ever met in person. Beth told you the story about our first date group date. Surprise! And then I think I knew probably within 8 months I was going to marry Jeff. And I was like, this is going to happen. It's going to happen soon, right? No. So first Valentine's Day came, and he brought me a red Kessler's box. And I was like, he's going to propose. And it was a necklace. And as time went on, I was like, okay, this might just take a while. Which for those of you who don't know my family doesn't take a while when it comes to getting married. They're like married within a year of knowing each other. So this was very strange. Anyways, so we go to Florida in January. I had a work trip, he came along. And we're about 3 years into dating. And he's like, I can't ask you to marry me until I ask your dad. And I was like, well, babe, pick up the phone. And he's like, no, I have to ask your dad in person. Well, for those of you who don't know, my father lives in Florida. So that's kind of tricky. So we finally get down there in January. And Jeff, in true Jeff fashion, we get there, it's 2 days gone by, he hasn't talked to Dad. And I'm like, babe, you gotta talk to Dad. He's like, I know. So the last day we're there, before dinner, I'm sitting in the house with Mom. I am watching TV shows, and Jeff and my dad were in the garage, vaping, whatever, talking, for hours. And I was like, okay, it's definitely happening now. So Jeff comes in, and I was like, in 15 minutes we're gonna go to dinner. Have you talked to Dad yet? And he's like, no. I was like, babe, we leave in the morning. This is your last chance. So 15 minutes go by. Jeff had his final warning. I walk out into the garage, and my dad says,
hell no.
He said, hell no. And I thought they were picking on me, but really, my darling man had just waited till the very last minute, and I walked out as Jeff asked, and my dad said, hell no. So we go to dinner, and Jeff's like, but really, was that a joke? So this is January. Can someone bring me some water? This is January. And I get home from my trip to Florida, and I pull down the visor of my car, and a Kessler's receipt falls out of my visor. And I was like, y'all, it's happening. I didn't look, by the way. I don't know how much he spent. Don't ask me, because I don't know. So January goes by, no ring. February goes by, no ring. March, and Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day, let me tell you about Valentine's Day, and then I'll wrap this up real quick. Valentine's Day, we go to the art museum, and then we went to this really nice restaurant called Tess Milwaukee, and we get inside this nice romantic candlelit light tonight restaurant, and it's Jeff and I, and he's like, oh no, I forgot my phone in my car. And in my head, I'm like, I didn't think he was going to propose on Valentine's Day, because that's a little cliche, but okay. My man walks in, he really just forgot his phone in the car. So when he finally did propose, he told me we were going to this Italian restaurant out in Fort Atkinson. He totally lied to me. He took me to the musical production of Beauty and the Beast at the Fireside, which is my favorite, which is why we walked in to be our guest today. And finally proposed. And I was like, yes, finally. No, I'm kidding. It was very sweet. He had a shirt that said, will you be my beauty and I'll be your beast? And it was a great night. But the point of this is my man's always taking a long time. And nobody talks about a man taking a long time like Miss Etta James. So I'm not a very good speaker, but I do sometimes sing. My emotions are a little high, so if I go flat, just ignore it. But I have a little surprise for my husband. nearer than I can.